Welcome to Bears in Exile. Today is Saturday, December the 30th, and this is a special look at silver. I haven't put out any charts on the Dow or SPX or anything like that in the last couple of days simply because it's been so volatile, and with the huge gap down after hours Friday, that data does not show up on the charts yet. Dow down 200 points, SPX down 20. It wouldn't be reflected in the charts or the indicators, so I don't really want to do that because it would be misleading. But by the same token, I do want to put something out, so I think silver looks really interesting at this point. I'm going to go through it real fast. Okay, so we know that we had this big drop down here, busting out the 200-day moving average. I was thinking about a week ago that we would have some kind of a bounce, and it did not materialize, which definitely is a bad thing. So we can see this entire last week, all through last Friday, just going sideways. This is not good action. On Thursday, we did get a uptick on SLV, which does give a target of, see here, it's way up here, about 30.4, which would be a really nice move up, and I would love to grab that. However, I don't think that this uptick is going to resolve, even though upticks have a wonderful, wonderful track record. Occasionally they do fail, and here's why I think it will fail. We haven't even attempted a retest of the 200-day moving average with 6 trading days. That should be a warning sign in itself. We do have excessive separation in the short-term moving averages, but if we look at indicators, the 14-day RSI moving average is still moving down, and we do have a few positive things. We do have the fast stochastic going up for secondary reset. We do have the MACD histogram sloping up, also secondary reset. We did have the CCI moving up for a secondary reset, but we can see we already have problems. The CCI has stalled. Most likely the stochastics will also. Most likely the MACD histogram will also. The MACD itself is still pointing down. The RSI is still pointing down. We had a really nice blip in the heat map, which is another reason why back here I thought that we would have a little bit of a bump up. And instead it is working itself off through time, and we have no movement up. To me, all of that is pretty negative. Beyond that, what do we have? Well, we have some gaps. Yes, we created some gaps on the way down. At some point, those definitely will fill. But we also have some gaps way back here. This move down wiped out a double gap that we had back here in August. You can see the space here and space here. So that is done. But just below it, we have a gap right here that takes us down to 28.5, and just below that we have another gap that takes it down to just shy of 28, just a couple pennies shy of 28. So those need to be filled as well. Beyond that, we have one last gap way down here, going back to also the beginning of August, and that takes it down to 650. Which also coincides with a major price consensus level. So you might say, okay, well, we have these gaps, it's nice, doesn't really prove that we have to go down and see them. We'd certainly have some potential weakness in the daily time frame, but these have to curl back down, right? These have to stall out, they have to turn back down, and these look pretty low, don't they? Yes, they do. But if we go back to November, December, it just brings things into a little better perspective in terms of scale. And in terms of scale, we have the MACD, of course, still pointing down, and it has plenty of room to move to the downside still. The MACD histogram is pretty low in spite of itself, so yes, that potentially could be a strike against the bears. But MACD itself, plenty of room to move to the downside. The RSI, room to move to the downside. Room on the 14-day RSI moving average. Room to move on the CCI to the downside. So yes, there is potential for further downside here. Now if we look at this is very interesting. You have the MACD, right? It looks pretty low, but it has more room to move. The price is right here. If we take this and move it back in time to where it is going down like it is now, not up. It takes us down here to December. And where was the price at the same position of the MACD in December? Well, it's roughly where we are right now, right in between here. So that matches up very well. And if we look at December, it went down some more. And where did it crap out at? At 26. So even though the MACD histogram is not as, in December it wasn't as far down as it is now, we can see based on the MACD itself that yes, it can move potentially all the way down to a move similar to the 26 area. Entirely possible. You'll notice the 14-day RSI moving average itself, same general vicinity. And actually some of the other positionings, the CCI was worse back in December. The RSI, it's a little bit worse now. So anyways, the point being, the potential absolutely exists to fill at least 2 gaps to the downside. And maybe even this one all the way down here. Amazing. So, beyond that, you would say, well, it still does not prove that, that this is going to break. And it's true, it does not prove it. So if we go to the 60-minute time frame, we know it needs a little push to break this. And here in the 60-minute time frame, we can see the essentially straight across action. And what else do we see? We see the long-term moving average bar coming down. And we can see that every time it comes into contact with it at this moment, it is getting pushed down along with it, and it is in contact with it at this moment. Well, okay, well, what else do we see? Well, we see the MACD histogram sloping down. We can see that the MACD itself is in a spot where it could turn rather easily. You can see the 14-day RSI moving average is moving down after completing its trek all the way to the top. And what does this tell us? This tells us that there's weakness as well, because its best chance for making a move up price-wise was during this time frame. And did the price move? No, not really. So now it's going to get its time to move down, and the question being, can it break this? If it does, then it should be going to gap fills, 1 or 2 or 3. Does that mean that it's going to do it on Monday? Well, we can also see the secondaries are doing a secondary reset. The stochastics moving up, the CCI moving up, the RSI moving up, and the MACD moving up. Very, very soon, these are going to be finished with their trek to the top. And then they should roll and make their move halfway down, all the way down, somewhere down. And the question being, with the 14-day moving with it, should it break this sideways action? The answer should be yes. And I think we can do one other thing which also brings this into greater clarity as to what's happening, which is if we look at volume. Alright, so here we are with our volume. We have this big gap above us. It simply does not have any desire to go up as of yet. And what's in between here and our gap fill? A major price consensus level. Should be really big resistance, and it coincides with the about 29.75 roundabout. So there is the possibility that it could get up to that point. Of course, if it can break it in one go, that's very positive. There's greater odds that it would fail. So we know there's good resistance directly above where we are now. This is one of the reasons why I think a move up would be poor. Now, what's below us? Very little. Very little. We have some area down here at 28.5, which is directly in the gap fill. After that, we have nothing for the second gap fill. And the next area really doesn't happen until there is a decent one at 7.25, but really not a good one until 26.5. And if we do get 26.5, then you know, that other gap fill is right in there. So area of least resistance should be down. Should be down. Just needs a push, and the 60-minute would appear that time is about to line up for silver. And there it is. As always, all investing decisions are your own. This chart and video for entertainment, educational, and consumption of time purposes only. Thank you very much.